This audiobook is the key to unlocking the hidden forces shaping your reality. As you listen, you'll awaken to the ancient truth. The power to transform your life has always been within you, waiting for this moment to be revealed. The doorway to the unseen is opening. Step through and discover the reality that awaits. The Master Key. Introduction. In the depths of your being, there stirs an ancient knowing, a whisper of truth that has waited patiently through the ages. You have felt it in those quiet moments between thoughts, in the stillness before dawn, in the pause between breaths. It is the knowing that there is more to this world than what your eyes perceive, more than what your mind has been trained to accept. The universe operates according to eternal laws, as constant as the rising sun and as unchangeable as the stars in their courses. These laws have governed every empire, every achievement, and every transformation since time immemorial. They are written not in books, but in the very fabric of existence itself. You stand now at the threshold of understanding. The veil that has obscured your vision is about to lift, revealing a reality so vast and magnificent that it will transform your understanding of what is possible. This transformation is not merely about acquiring new information. It is about awakening to what you have always known but forgotten. Think of a person who has lived their entire life in a darkened room, never knowing the sun existed. Imagine their astonishment when first stepping into daylight. This is the magnitude of the shift that awaits you. The world you have known is but a shadow of what truly exists, and you are far more powerful than you have been led to believe. The knowledge contained within these chapters has been guarded by sages and masters throughout history. Not because they wished to keep it secret, but because they understood that truth reveals itself only to those ready to receive it. And you, by opening these chapters, have demonstrated that readiness. This is not merely a book. It is a key to unlocking the dormant forces within you. As you turn each page, you will discover that the power to reshape your reality has always resided within you, waiting to be awakened. The journey ahead will challenge everything you believe about yourself and the nature of reality. But remember, truth, once recognized, cannot be unknown. You stand at the gateway of transformation. Take this step with full awareness that your life will never be the same. Part 1. Waking up to the hidden order of reality. Chapter 1. The doorway to the unseen. In a quiet town among rolling hills, Walter the clockmaker sat at his workbench, his weathered hands moving with practiced precision among the gears and springs. As he worked, strange occurrences began to manifest around him. When his thoughts turned to sunlight, the clouds would part. When he wished for customers, the bell above his door would chime. At first, he dismissed these alignments as mere chance, yet they persisted with undeniable regularity. What Walter experienced reveals a truth that has existed since the dawn of time. The world you see is not fixed, but fluid, responsive to the invisible force of consciousness itself. The solid objects that surround you, the events that unfold in your life, the circumstances you encounter, all are more malleable than you have been taught to believe. Your consciousness is not merely witnessing reality. It is the very force that shapes it. Every thought you hold, every emotion you nurture, every belief you maintain creates ripples in the fabric of existence. These ripples become the patterns of your life, manifesting as the circumstances and experiences you encounter. Picture the vast ocean of reality, infinite, powerful, ever-moving. You are not simply floating upon its surface. You are the force that directs its currents. Your thoughts and feelings are like the moon pulling at the tides, creating waves that eventually reach distant shores. As Walter began to understand this principle, he started to pay attention. He noticed how his worry about time would cause his clocks to run slightly fast, while his moments of peace would bring them into perfect synchronization. One morning, filled with joy about his craft, he found every timepiece in his shop chiming in perfect harmony, a symphony he had never managed to create through mechanical means alone. This revelation mirrors the truth of your own existence. The world around you responds not to your physical actions alone, but to the invisible force of your consciousness. Every moment, whether you realize it or not, you are engaged in this dance of creation. The practice of conscious creation. For the next 7 days, set aside moments throughout your day to observe the subtle ways your inner state affects your outer reality. Notice how your thoughts and feelings align with the events you encounter. Watch for patterns. Does anxiety precede certain types of experiences? Does joy attract particular circumstances? Keep a mental record of these correlations, not to judge them, but to witness the intimate connection between your consciousness and the world it creates. This observation itself will begin to awaken your awareness of the creative force that flows through you, allowing you to see beyond the illusion of a fixed reality into the truth of your creative power. Chapter 2. The Forgotten Truth of Creation. In the depths of your being lies a truth that has whispered through the ages, a truth about the nature of creation itself. As you journey deeper into these teachings, let the story of Leonard guide your understanding. Leonard, a distinguished professor of philosophy, often returned to a memory from his 7th summer. On a crisp autumn morning, his grandfather led him to the edge of their family garden. The old man's hands, strong yet gentle, dug into the dark earth as he planted a small seed. "Watch closely," he said, "for what happens here will teach you about all of life." Day after day, Leonard would rush to the spot, expecting to see a mighty tree burst forth. His grandfather smiled at his impatience. "The most important growth," he explained, "happens where your eyes cannot see. First, the roots must establish themselves in darkness before the stem can reach for light." This simple wisdom contains the key to understanding how reality manifests. The law of attraction, while powerful, is merely the surface of a deeper truth. Creation follows an immutable pattern, first in thought, then in essence, and finally in form. Just as a tree must first develop its root system before breaking through the soil, your desires must first take root in the unseen realms before manifesting in your physical reality. Years later, while organizing his grandfather's library, Leonard discovered an ancient, leather-bound volume. Its chapters, yellowed with age, spoke of the sacred principles of creation, principles that echoed what he had learned that autumn day. The book revealed that all things must first exist in the realm of spirit before they can materialize in the world of form. This process cannot be rushed, for it follows the natural order of the universe itself. The practice of patient creation. Take your journal and find a quiet moment of reflection. Think back to something you once desired deeply, something that eventually came into your life, though perhaps not in the way you initially imagined. Write about the journey of this manifestation. Notice the subtle signs that appeared along the way, the unexpected turns that led to its fulfillment. What seeds were planted in your consciousness before the physical manifestation occurred? What unseen growth took place within you during the waiting period? Record these observations with the understanding that they reveal the hidden mechanics of creation. This exercise will attune you to the natural rhythm of manifestation, helping you recognize that what appears as delay is often the necessary underground growth that precedes all true creation. Chapter 3. Your world is a mirror. But what is it reflecting? Within the tapestry of existence, your life unfolds as a masterpiece, each stroke revealing the artist that dwells within your soul. Let us explore this truth through the story of Clara, whose journey mirrors the sacred relationship between inner vision and outer reality. In a sun-filled studio at the edge of town, Clara stood before her canvas, brush poised in hand. Day after day, she painted scenes of solitary figures in shadowed doorways, of paths that led nowhere, of birds trapped in golden cages. Her work drew praise for its haunting beauty, yet she felt a growing unease at the recurring themes that seemed to flow unbidden from her brush. This phenomenon you witness in Clara's art exists in every aspect of your existence. The world you experience is not a random collection of events, but a precise reflection of the energy you carry within. Your relationships echo your self-worth. Your circumstances mirror your beliefs, and your recurring experiences reveal the patterns held in your deepest consciousness. As Clara studied her collection of paintings one evening, she noticed how the light from her window cast shadows that seemed to dance across her canvases. In that moment of clarity, she made a simple yet profound change. She began painting windows in her doorways, light streaming through the darkness. What followed transformed her understanding forever. Within weeks, opportunities began appearing in her life. Gallery owners who had previously passed by her work now stopped to inquire. People who had seemed distant became warm and approachable. The shift in her art had catalyzed a shift in her reality, revealing a truth as old as creation itself. The outer world had never been the source of her limitations. It had simply been reflecting, with perfect accuracy, the beliefs she held about herself and her place in the world. The ancient practice of pattern recognition. Find a quiet space where you can reflect undisturbed. Think of 3 significant experiences that have shaped your life's journey. Write them down, but do not stop at the surface story. For each experience, ask yourself, what energy was I carrying within that drew this experience to me? What beliefs about myself were being reflected in this situation? What patterns can I recognize that have appeared repeatedly in different forms? Look deeply at these reflections, understanding that they reveal not just isolated incidents, but the very fabric of your consciousness. In recognizing these patterns, you begin to understand the language through which the universe communicates with you, showing you exactly where your energy is focused and what beliefs are shaping your reality. Chapter 4. The Law Hiding in Plain Sight, and Why You Haven't Seen It. In the depths of an old library, where dust motes dance in shafts of golden light, an ancient truth awaits rediscovery. Thomas, who had spent 40 years surrounded by books, never imagined that the most powerful wisdom would find him after his retirement. You must understand that what happened to Thomas that day was no accident. He reached for a leather-bound volume on the highest shelf, and as it fell, another book tumbled with it. A manuscript so old its chapters seemed to whisper with accumulated wisdom. Within its weathered chapters, Thomas discovered writings that spoke of a law more fundamental than any physical force, the law of assumption. This law operates in your life at every moment, though you may have never noticed its presence. Just as gravity moves objects without being seen, the law of assumption shapes reality according to your deepest convictions. Whatever you accept as true in your heart, not merely in your thoughts, but in the very depths of your being, must manifest in your external world. Thomas, skeptical yet intrigued, decided to test this principle. For years he had assumed that his quiet life meant loneliness was inevitable. But after studying the manuscript, he made a simple yet powerful shift. He began to assume that meaningful connections naturally flowed into his life. Within days, a new family moved into the house next door. Their young daughter shared his passion for classical literature, and soon his home was filled with the warmth of conversation and shared stories. Former colleagues began reaching out, and a reading group formed spontaneously around his expertise. Thomas watched in amazement as his world transformed, not through any external action, but through a simple shift in his inner assumption. The universe responds not to your wishes or fleeting thoughts, but to the unwavering assumptions you hold about yourself and your reality. These assumptions form the foundation upon which your entire life is built. When Thomas changed his core assumption about connection, the universe rearranged itself to match his new inner truth. The ancient practice of assumption. Choose one area of your life where you desire change. For the next full day, assume with complete conviction that what you desire is already yours. Feel it in your bones. If it is abundance you seek, move through your day with the quiet certainty of someone who knows their prosperity is assured. If it is love, carry yourself as one who is deeply cherished. Do not question or doubt. Simply maintain this assumption as naturally as you assume the sun will rise. As the day unfolds, observe how reality begins to align with your new inner knowing. Chapter 5. The Silent Language of Energy. In the early days of radio communication, when the airwaves held mysteries yet unexplored, a truth about the universe revealed itself through the static and signals of a modest broadcasting station. You see, Eleanor sat before her radio equipment each day, translating messages that traversed the invisible frequencies around us. At first, she noticed it as a peculiar coincidence. The clarity of transmission seemed to fluctuate with her moods. On days when her spirit soared, the signals came through with crystal clarity. During moments of doubt or frustration, static dominated the airways. What Eleanor stumbled upon mirrors a universal principle that shapes your every experience. Just as radio waves carry messages through the air, your thoughts and emotions broadcast continuous signals into the fabric of reality. These signals are not mere metaphors. They are actual energetic frequencies that ripple through the quantum field, drawing back to you experiences that match their vibration. When you understand this principle, you begin to see that the world responds not to your words or actions, but to the energy you emanate. Every circumstance in your life, every relationship, every opportunity or challenge arrives as a perfect match to your dominant frequency. Eleanor began to experiment with this knowledge. She discovered that by consciously adjusting her emotional state, she could tune the quality of incoming transmissions. More significantly, she noticed this principle extended beyond her radio equipment. Her entire life responded to these intentional shifts in her energy. The ancient practice of frequency alignment. Find a quiet space where you will remain undisturbed. Close your eyes and bring awareness to your current energetic state. Feel the vibration of your thoughts and emotions. Now imagine yourself as a radio tower, broadcasting your frequency into the universe. What signal are you sending? Visualize a dial within your consciousness that allows you to tune your personal frequency. Turn it slowly, feeling yourself shift into higher vibrations of peace, joy, or abundance, whatever you wish to attract. As you adjust this inner dial, sense the shift in your entire being. Hold this elevated frequency for several minutes, knowing that the universe must respond with matching experiences. This practice, passed down through generations of those who understood the hidden laws of energy, holds the power to transform your reality from the inside out. Just as Eleanor discovered that her equipment responded to her inner state, you will find that your entire world reshapes itself to match the frequency you choose to maintain. Like a master musician fine-tuning their instrument, you possess the innate ability to calibrate your energetic vibration to attract precisely what you seek. The ancient mystics knew this truth, that your consciousness acts as a magnetic force, drawing to you experiences that resonate with your dominant frequency. As you master this sacred art of energetic alignment, you'll witness the universe orchestrating events, encounters, and opportunities that mirror your inner harmony. Chapter 6. The Grand Illusion. In the depths of a coastal village where the rhythm of waves marks the passage of time, there exists a truth so fundamental that most overlook it entirely. Through the story of Howard, an aged fisherman, this ancient wisdom now emerges from the mists of time. For 40 years, Howard ventured out to sea alone, believing his struggles were uniquely his own. Each dawn, he would push his weathered boat into the waters, seeing himself as separate from the vast ocean before him. Yet, as the seasons turned, something began to shift in his perception. You must understand that what appears as separation is the greatest illusion cast upon human consciousness. Just as Howard observed the tides moving in perfect synchronicity with the moon, and the seabirds dancing in unified patterns without a conductor, all of existence moves as one unified field of intelligence. The universe operates as an interconnected web of energy and consciousness. When you feel alone in your journey, remember that this perceived isolation is merely a veil, a temporary blindness to the profound unity that underlies all of creation. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, ripples through this unified field, touching lives and circumstances you cannot yet see. Howard's transformation began the day he stopped seeing the ocean as an adversary to be conquered. Instead, he began speaking to the waters as an ancient friend. He acknowledged the wind as a conscious force, the clouds as silent companions on his journey. As his awareness shifted, so too did his experience. Fish seemed to find his nets more readily, storms appeared to part before his boat, and a deep sense of belonging replaced his long-time loneliness. This truth extends beyond Howard's experience on the sea. Every person you encounter, every circumstance you face, exists within this same unified field of consciousness. The stranger who crosses your path, the unexpected opportunity that arrives, the challenging situation that emerges, all are connected through invisible threads of meaning and purpose. The ancient practice of unity. Awareness. Choose 3 moments in your day to pause and observe the hidden connections around you. Notice how events flow into one another, how conversations lead to unexpected encounters, how thoughts manifest as experience. Pay attention to the subtle synchronicities, the song that plays at the perfect moment, the book that falls open to exactly the page you needed to read, the person who appears just as you thought of them. As you practice this awareness, you begin to perceive the intricate tapestry of connection that has always existed beneath the surface of ordinary reality. Like Howard speaking to the sea, you will discover that the universe is not a cold, mechanical system, but a living, responsive field of intelligence that mirrors your consciousness back to you. Chapter 7. The Golden Thread Through Time. Throughout the ages, in the quietest corners of libraries and the sacred halls of temples, whispers of eternal truth have echoed. Let us explore the journey of Margaret, whose dedication to uncovering historical patterns revealed something far more significant than mere academic findings. In the soft light of ancient manuscripts, Margaret noticed a pattern emerging, a golden thread of wisdom woven through time itself. What began as scholarly research transformed into a spiritual awakening as she traced the same fundamental principles across civilizations, separated by vast oceans and centuries. You stand now where countless others have stood before, at the threshold of understanding that transcends time. These teachings of manifestation and cosmic law were not invented. They were discovered again and again by those who had eyes to see. The Egyptian mystics spoke of it through their sacred symbols. The Renaissance masters encoded it in their art, and the ancient Greek philosophers wrapped it in their metaphors. This knowledge flows like an underground river through human consciousness. You have carried it within you, lifetime after lifetime. When truth resonates in your heart, it is not new information entering. It is ancient wisdom awakening from its slumber. Margaret's revelation came while comparing texts from different eras. The same principles appeared. Thoughts shape reality, belief precedes manifestation, and the universe responds to the energy we emit. These weren't merely similar ideas. They were identical truths wearing different cultural garments. The sacred practice of wisdom recognition. Select one spiritual text or philosophical work that calls to you. It might be the Emerald Tablets of Hermes, the Tao Te Ching, or even the Parables of Solomon. As you read, note the passages that speak of creation, manifestation, and universal law. You will begin to recognize familiar principles clothed in ancient language. Look beyond the surface meaning. Where does the text speak of the power of thought? How does it describe the relationship between consciousness and reality? What metaphors does it use to explain the law of attraction? Record these discoveries in your journal, drawing parallels between these ancient teachings and your current understanding of manifestation principles. You will find that what seems like modern spiritual knowledge has been preserved and passed down through countless generations, waiting for you to remember. This practice serves not just as academic exercise, but as a key to unlock the wisdom already residing within you. Through studying these texts, you are not learning. You are remembering what your soul has always known. Like a traveler returning to a familiar homeland after a long journey, Each revelation will stir something deep in your consciousness. The ancient words will resonate with truths you have carried lifetime after lifetime, waiting for the perfect moment to bloom into awareness. Trust in this process of remembering, for the knowledge you seek has never truly left you. It simply awaits your recognition. Chapter 8. The Key That Opens All Doors. In a small workshop filled with half-finished inventions and discarded blueprints, Daniel stood before his life's work, a machine that promised to revolutionize energy production. For years, he had pored over calculations, adjusted mechanisms, and refined designs, yet success remained elusive. The answer he sought wasn't hidden in the mechanics. It lay in a truth as old as creation itself. You see, the physical world responds not to your efforts, but to your certainty. When you examine the stories of history's greatest inventors, you'll find a common thread. They held an unwavering belief in the possibility of their vision. Thomas Edison didn't try 10,000 ways to create the light bulb. He knew with absolute certainty that the solution existed, and he simply revealed it. The universe operates through immutable laws. Just as gravity doesn't require your understanding to function, the law of belief works ceaselessly, shaping reality according to your deepest convictions. What you believe becomes the foundation upon which your experiences are built. Daniel's breakthrough came not through a new design, but through a profound shift in consciousness. One morning, he stopped seeing his invention as a problem to solve and began treating it as an accomplished fact. He spoke about it as though it already worked perfectly. He felt the joy of success before any physical evidence appeared. Within weeks, the solution he had sought for years emerged with striking clarity. This transformation mirrors an ancient principle: belief precedes manifestation. The world you see reflects not what is possible, but what you believe is possible. Your current circumstances are not your limitations. They are the echoes of your past beliefs. The 7-day belief activation. Choose one goal you've labeled impossible. Write it down in precise detail. For the next 7 days, spend time each morning and evening in quiet contemplation. See this impossibility as an accomplished fact. Feel the emotions of its reality. Speak of it as though it exists now. Don't concern yourself with how. That is not your task. Your role is to hold the unwavering belief in its possibility, allowing the universe to arrange the means of its manifestation. Remember, as you practice this exercise, that doubt may arise. Welcome it as a natural part of the process, but do not give it power. Like Daniel, your task is not to figure everything out, but to maintain the feeling of absolute certainty in your desired outcome. Let doubt float past like clouds in the sky. Acknowledge its presence, then return your focus to the unwavering truth within. Your belief is the seed from which all manifestation grows. Water it with conviction, nurture it with steadfast faith, and watch as the universe conspires to bring forth that which you know to be true in your heart. Chapter 9. The Power of Surrender and Alignment. In a dimly lit dressing room adorned with faded playbills, Virginia meticulously arranged her makeup brushes, each positioned at precise angles. Her life had become a carefully orchestrated performance, yet the more she tried to direct every scene, the more the script seemed to unravel. You have felt this tension, the exhausting effort of trying to control every variable in your life. Like Virginia, you may have discovered that the tighter you grip, the more life seems to slip through your fingers. This reveals one of the most powerful paradoxes of universal law. True mastery comes not through force, but through surrender. Think of the ocean. You cannot control its waves, but you can learn to surf them. This is the art of divine alignment. When you release your rigid expectations and trust in the wisdom of the universe, you tap into a power far greater than your own limited perspective. Virginia's transformation began on opening night, when everything went wrong despite her painstaking preparation. The lead actor fell ill, the lighting malfunctioned, and her perfectly memorized lines felt hollow. In that moment of complete chaos, she finally surrendered. Instead of fighting against reality, she allowed herself to flow with it. What followed was the most authentic performance of her career, one that emerged naturally from presence rather than control. This mirrors the deepest truth about manifestation. The universe's plan for your life far exceeds your carefully laid schemes. When you release your grip on how things should be, you create space for how they could be. This is not passive resignation, but active trust in divine timing and infinite possibility. The sacred release. Take a piece of paper and write down something you've been trying to control. A situation, relationship, or outcome that has consumed your energy. Feel the weight of this burden as you transfer it onto the page. Now choose your method of release. You may burn the paper safely, representing transformation, tear it into pieces, symbolizing the dissolution of resistance, or dissolve it in water, signifying flow and surrender. As you perform this ritual, speak these words: I release my need to control this outcome. I trust in divine timing and perfect alignment. What is meant for me cannot miss me, and what misses me was not meant for me. Watch as your written concerns transform, dissolve, or float away. This physical act of letting go mirrors the internal surrender required for true co-creation with the universe. Remember Virginia's discovery. Sometimes the most powerful action is no action at all, but rather a deep trust in the unfolding of divine order. Chapter 10. The Awakening You Can Never Undo. In a prestigious university laboratory, Robert meticulously documented his experiments, taking pride in his rational, scientific approach to understanding the world. Each morning he would dismiss his colleagues' conversations about energy, consciousness, and universal forces, until the day everything changed. You may recognize yourself in Robert's story. Perhaps you too have built your life on the foundation of what can be measured, proven, and explained through conventional means. Yet the universe has a way of breaking through our carefully constructed walls of skepticism. For Robert, it happened during a routine experiment. As he observed a particular reaction under his microscope, he noticed something that defied all scientific explanation, a pattern that seemed to respond to his thoughts. At first, he dismissed it as a trick of light or fatigue, but it happened again and again. Each time he focused his attention, the microscopic world appeared to dance to the rhythm of his consciousness. This revelation shattered his worldview. Like a crack in a dam, once the first doubt appeared, the entire structure of his beliefs began to crumble. He tried desperately to return to his former perspective, to see the world as he once did, a place of predictable cause and effect, governed solely by physical laws. But something fundamental had shifted within him. You stand at this same threshold now. The knowledge contained in these chapters is not mere information to be processed and filed away. It is a catalyst for transformation. Each truth you encounter acts like a key, unlocking doors in your consciousness that cannot be closed again. Robert spent months attempting to disprove what he had witnessed, to find rational explanations that would restore his comfortable worldview. But in doing so, he only discovered more evidence of the universe's responsive nature. His rigid skepticism had been protecting him from a truth too vast for his logical mind to contain, that consciousness itself is the foundation of reality. The ancient practice of anchoring truth. Take 3 moments of stillness. In each moment, identify one realization from these teachings that has irreversibly altered your perception. Write these truths in your own words, not as concepts you've learned, but as wisdom you've awakened to remember. For each realization, close your eyes and feel the weight of its truth in your body. Notice how it has already begun to reshape your experience of reality. Acknowledge that you can no longer perceive the world as you did before encountering this wisdom. Speak each truth aloud, affirming, "This understanding is now part of who I am. I accept this expansion of my awareness." Part 2. Unlocking the power they never taught you. Chapter 11. The Hidden Blueprint of Manifestation. In a small workshop at the edge of town, Henry stood before his workbench, running his calloused hands over another failed project. For 20 years he had watched others succeed while his own efforts fell short. "Some are born under lucky stars," he would mutter, sweeping sawdust from his floor each evening. You too may have felt this way, watching others manifest their dreams while yours remain elusive. Yet what appears as luck follows an immutable pattern, as precise as the measurements that guide a master builder's hand. The universe operates through exact principles. Just as every house begins with a blueprint, every manifestation follows a structured sequence. Your thoughts lay the foundation. Your beliefs frame the walls. Your energy powers the construction, and your actions bring it all into form. Henry's transformation began unknowingly one morning when he stopped his usual complaints. Instead of cursing his luck, he found himself studying the work of successful craftsmen. Rather than dismissing their achievements as fortune's favor, he began to notice their patterns, their attention to detail, their confidence in approach, their unwavering focus. Slowly, his thoughts shifted from, "I never get the good projects," to, "I can create work of this caliber." As his inner dialogue changed, his energy followed. His hands moved with new precision. His eyes saw possibilities where before they found only flaws. Without realizing it, Henry had activated the universal blueprint of creation. Orders began arriving, small at first, then increasingly significant. Doors that had remained firmly closed now swung open with ease. What appeared as sudden luck was actually the natural result of aligning with manifestation's fundamental laws. The ancient practice of blueprint manifestation. Choose one desire you wish to manifest. On a blank page, draw a vertical line down the center. On the left side, write your current thoughts, emotions, and actions regarding this desire. On the right, write the thoughts, emotions, and actions of someone who already has what you seek. Study the contrast between these two columns. Notice how the right column reveals the energetic blueprint required for manifestation. Each day for the next 7 days, consciously step into these aligned thoughts, feelings, and actions. You are not pretending. You are building according to the universal blueprint. Record each shift, each synchronicity, each small sign that shows your manifestation taking form. Like a house rising from its foundation, your desire will begin materializing through this structured process of alignment. Remember, the universe is not random. It responds to precise patterns of thought, belief, and action. You are not waiting for luck. You are following the blueprint of creation itself. Chapter 12: The Invisible Web of Thought and Emotion. In the dimly lit corners of a smoky jazz club, Louise discovered a truth that would forever change her understanding of manifestation. Night after night, she noticed a peculiar pattern. When her heart soared with genuine joy, the audience leaned in, completely entranced. Yet when doubt crept into her thoughts, even the simplest notes fell flat against unreceptive ears. You too have experienced this invisible dance between your inner state and outer reality. Every moment you broadcast an energy that shapes your experiences more powerfully than any words or actions. Your thoughts and emotions are not separate forces. They intertwine like threads in an ancient tapestry, creating the very fabric of your reality. When your thoughts align with your emotional state, you become a beacon, attracting experiences that match your inner frequency. As Louise prepared for her performances, she began experimenting with this wisdom. Instead of focusing on the audience's reaction, she learned to tune her inner instrument first. Before stepping onto the stage, she would close her eyes and allow joy to fill her being. She discovered that the magic never lay in the technical perfection of her songs. It emerged from the authentic resonance of her emotional state. The universe responds not to your wishes or wants, but to the energy you embody. When Louise sang from a place of pure joy, she wasn't performing for the audience. She was expressing her alignment with the universal frequency of abundance. The audience's response was merely a reflection of the energy she had already created within. The ancient practice of emotional alignment. Take a moment each morning to write down your deepest desires. Then close your eyes and notice the emotions present within you. Do your feelings align with what you seek to manifest? If you desire abundance, do you feel abundant? If you seek love, do you feel loving? Before taking any action toward your goals, pause and consciously shift your emotional state to match the frequency of what you wish to attract. For in this alignment lies the secret of true manifestation. This sacred practice of emotional attunement is not merely a ritual. It is the very key that unlocks the door to your desires. When you find yourself harboring feelings of lack while seeking abundance, or experiencing bitterness while pursuing love, you create a discord in the universal frequency. The law is absolute, like attracts like. You must first become the living embodiment of that which you wish to draw into your life. Let your heart overflow with gratitude, as though your desires have already manifested. Feel the joy of achievement before the achievement itself appears in physical form. In this way, you transform yourself into a magnet for the very experiences you seek. Chapter 13: The Mind's Hidden Geometry and Why It Shapes Your Future. In the hushed halls of a prestigious university, Samuel traced equations across a weathered chalkboard, his fingers following the spiral patterns of the Fibonacci sequence. Through decades of mathematical study, he had observed these sacred patterns everywhere, in the arrangement of leaves, the formation of galaxies, and the intricate design of seashells. You too are governed by these universal patterns, though they manifest not in physical form, but in the sacred geometry of your thoughts. Your mind moves in precise mathematical cycles, thoughts spiraling in predictable sequences, until a new pattern interrupts their flow. Every belief you hold, every assumption about life, follows these ancient patterns. Like the golden ratio that shapes the nautilus shell, your thoughts curve inward, creating loops that repeat until consciously broken. This is why transformation requires more than mere positive thinking. It demands an understanding of the underlying structure of thought itself. Samuel discovered this truth when he noticed his own mathematical mind trapped in recursive loops of scarcity thinking. Despite his brilliant insights into nature's patterns, he remained bound by old beliefs about his own limitations. Then, one day, studying the branching patterns of trees, he realized thoughts, like branches, grow in the direction they're trained. For 7 days, Samuel applied his understanding of pattern interruption to his own mind. Each time the old thought pattern emerged, "I don't deserve recognition," he consciously redirected it, like adjusting the angle of a growing branch. "I am worthy of abundance," he would think, creating a new spiral in his mental architecture. By the week's end, his external world began shifting in response to this internal restructuring. Colleagues who had overlooked his work for years suddenly sought his insights. Opportunities emerged as if by magic, though Samuel understood it was simply the natural result of altering his thought patterns. The ancient practice of pattern interruption. Select one recurring thought that limits your potential, a belief that has haunted your spiritual and material progress for far too long. For the next 7 days, become the vigilant observer of your mind, catching this thought as it emerges from the depths of your consciousness. In that sacred moment of awareness, consciously replace it with its opposite truth, speaking it with the authority of one who knows their divine power. Like Samuel, you will witness how shifting the geometry of your thoughts transforms the structure of your reality, for the universe responds not to what you wish to believe, but to the energy signature of your deepest convictions. This ancient practice of transmutation holds the key to liberating yourself from patterns that no longer serve your highest good. Chapter 14. The Paradox of Effortless Creation. In the fertile valleys where wisdom grows as naturally as wheat, there lived a woman named Nora, who tended her garden with fierce determination. Each morning, she would pull at her plants, willing them to grow faster, stronger, taller. Yet the more she forced, the more they withered under her touch. You see in Nora's struggle a reflection of your own relationship with creation. When you grasp too tightly at what you desire, you create resistance in the very fabric of manifestation. The universe operates on a principle more subtle than force. It responds to allowance rather than demand. Think of manifestation as the art of preparing soil. You cannot force a seed to sprout by pulling at its leaves, but you can create the perfect conditions for its growth. Your role is not to control the process, but to align with it. Nora discovered this truth one autumn morning when illness confined her to bed. Unable to tend her garden with her usual intensity, she watched from her window as nature took its course. To her amazement, her garden flourished without her constant intervention. The tomatoes grew plump and red, the herbs spread their fragrant leaves, and flowers bloomed in wild abundance. In this surrender, she uncovered the sacred paradox of creation. The less she forced, the more naturally her desires manifested. She began applying this wisdom to every aspect of her life. Rather than pushing for her son to choose a specific career, she created space for his natural talents to emerge. Instead of demanding her marriage follow a prescribed path, she allowed it to unfold organically. In each case, releasing control led to outcomes far more beautiful than she could have orchestrated. The ancient practice of sacred release. Take a clean white cloth and place it before you. Upon it, write the desire you have been struggling to manifest. Hold this cloth in your hands and feel the weight of your attachment to this outcome. Now, speaking words of trust to the universe, slowly fold the cloth, each fold representing your willingness to release control. Place this cloth under the light of the moon for one night, allowing universal wisdom to work through natural law rather than forced will. In the morning, store the cloth in a sacred space, symbolizing your trust in divine timing. This ritual marks your commitment to creating through alignment rather than force, understanding that what naturally blooms is far more magnificent than what is forced into being. Chapter 15. The Alchemy of Belief. In the hallowed halls of scientific discovery, there lived a brilliant mind named Franklin, whose decades of research had earned him both acclaim and skepticism. Each morning, he would enter his laboratory carrying the weight of his doubts, unconsciously setting the stage for what would unfold. You must understand that your expectations shape the very essence of your reality. As Franklin meticulously prepared his experiments, his mind whispered messages of inevitable failure. This won't work, he would think, and true to his belief, each attempt crumbled before him. The universe operates through an immutable law. It mirrors back to you the very essence of your deepest convictions. Your beliefs are not mere thoughts floating in your mind. They are the architects of your experience, the invisible hands that mold the clay of reality. One morning, as Franklin stared at yet another failed experiment, wisdom dawned upon him like the first rays of sunrise. He realized that his anticipation of failure had become a self-fulfilling prophecy. With this awareness, he decided to conduct a radical experiment, not with chemicals or compounds, but with his own beliefs. For his next trial, Franklin approached his work differently. He immersed himself in the absolute conviction of success. He spoke to his equipment as though it were already yielding the desired results. He moved through his laboratory with the certainty of one who knows the outcome before it manifests. To his amazement, the results began to shift. The very same experiment that had failed countless times now showed promising results. The only variable he had changed was his expectation. The ancient practice of belief transmutation. Take a piece of parchment and divide it into 2 columns. In the first, write a limiting belief that has held you back. Feel its weight, its familiar presence in your mind, the way it has shaped your choices and dimmed your light through the years. In the second column, craft its opposite, an empowering truth that resonates with your highest potential, one that makes your spirit soar with possibility. Each morning as the sun rises, speak this new truth aloud 7 times, for 7 is the number of spiritual completion. Place your hand over your heart as you do so, allowing this new belief to sink into your very being. Feel the warmth beneath your palm as this sacred truth takes root in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Continue this practice for 21 days, watching as your reality begins to shift in response to your transformed expectations, just as a garden transforms with tender care and attention. Remember, you are not creating something new. You are simply aligning with a truth that has always existed, waiting for you to claim it. Like a key finding its perfect lock, you are discovering what has been yours since the beginning of time. This practice of belief transmutation is as old as the stars themselves, passed down through generations of seekers who understood the sacred art of inner alchemy. Chapter 16. The Hidden Power of Symbols and Rituals. Through countless generations, sacred symbols have whispered their secrets to those who understood their true nature. In a small studio bathed in morning light, Edith's hands moved across parchment, her calligraphy pen dancing with practiced precision. Yet something stirred within her, an ancient recognition that these marks held more than mere aesthetic beauty. You see, every symbol carries a vibration, a frequency that resonates with the deeper layers of consciousness. These are not random designs born from human creativity, but keys passed down through time, each holding the power to unlock specific energetic doorways within your reality. As you explore this hidden dimension of creation, understand that the symbols you encounter daily, in art, in nature, in your dreams, are more than visual elements. They are living frequencies, each one a bridge between the seen and unseen realms of existence. Edith began incorporating specific symbols into her commissioned works, guided by an inner knowing she couldn't explain. A spiral here, an ancient sigil there, each carefully chosen and rendered with focused intent. Soon, her clients reported unexpected shifts in their lives. Business contracts adorned with prosperity symbols flourished. Wedding invitations featuring sacred union glyphs led to deeper connections. You, too, possess this ability to work with symbolic energy. Every mark you make, every symbol you choose to surround yourself with, creates ripples in the fabric of your reality. The key lies not in the complexity of the symbol, but in your relationship with it, your understanding that it serves as a focal point for universal energy. The ancient practice of personal symbol creation. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and envision your deepest desire, whether it be abundance, love, healing, or wisdom. Allow your hand to move freely across paper, drawing whatever shapes emerge naturally. This is your personal power symbol, unique to your energy signature. Once complete, energize your symbol through sacred breath. Inhale divine light, and as you exhale, imagine this light flowing into your creation. Place this symbol where you'll see it daily, on your altar, in your wallet, or as your phone's background. Each time you encounter it, touch it while affirming, "Through this sacred gate, I align with my highest good." Use this symbol in moments of meditation, during manifestation practices, or when you need to amplify your intentions. Remember, the power lies not in the symbol itself, but in the energy you invest in it. Let it become a bridge between your conscious desires and the infinite potential of the universe. Chapter 17. The magnetic force of desire. In the heart of a bustling city, Martha rushed through life with an energy that pushed away the very thing she sought. Each morning she would wake with a gnawing emptiness, desperately listing all she wanted: a fulfilling career, a loving relationship, a sense of purpose. Yet the more intensely she pursued these desires, the more elusive they became. You must understand this vital truth. The universe responds not to desperation, but to alignment. When you chase what you want with frantic energy, you create resistance in the very fabric of creation. This resistance pushes away that which you seek to draw near. True desire carries a different signature. It flows from a place of wholeness, not lack. It stems from alignment with your highest self, not from the wounded parts that believe something is missing. When you want something from this aligned space, you do not chase, you attract. Martha's transformation began the day she stopped running. Instead of frantically applying for jobs she didn't truly want, she sat in silence and connected with her authentic desires. Rather than forcing connections with others, she cultivated peace within herself. As her energy shifted from desperate wanting to aligned being, something remarkable occurred. Opportunities began finding her. A position opened at a company she had always admired, one that perfectly matched her skills and values. Meaningful relationships developed naturally, without effort or manipulation. The very things she had chased so hard now flowed to her with ease. This is the paradox of manifestation. What you pursue often eludes you, but what you embody naturally attracts its match. When you release the energy of wanting and step into the energy of being, you activate the true power of creation. The ancient practice of aligned manifestation. Take your journal and find a quiet space where you can connect with your inner truth. Begin writing about your desires as if they are already manifest, but with a crucial difference. Write from a place of gratitude and completion, not longing. Instead of "I want" or "I need," write "I am grateful for" or "I appreciate." Feel the subtle yet powerful distinction between desperate wanting and aligned gratitude. Let your words flow from a place of wholeness, acknowledging that everything you seek is already yours on an energetic level. This practice transforms your frequency from one of lack to one of abundance, allowing your desires to naturally gravitate toward you. Remember, true manifestation is not about forcing or chasing. It is about aligning your energy with what you desire, then allowing the universal laws to work through you. When you master this distinction, you master the art of effortless creation. Like a flower that doesn't strain to bloom but naturally unfolds in the presence of sunlight, your desires manifest most powerfully when you release the tension of wanting and settle into a state of peaceful knowing. Trust that the universe's infinite wisdom knows the perfect timing and method to bring your desires into form. Your role is simply to maintain that frequency of alignment, letting go of how and when your manifestations will appear. Chapter 18. The Rhythm of the Universe. In the ancient city of Time there lived a watchmaker named Arthur, whose skilled hands had crafted countless timepieces. Each day, as he assembled the intricate gears and springs, he observed how they moved in perfect harmony, each component knowing precisely when to turn, when to pause, when to engage. You, like Arthur, exist within the grand clockwork of the universe. Every moment of your life flows according to divine timing, a sacred rhythm that governs all creation. Just as a flower cannot be forced to bloom before its season, your manifestations unfold according to cosmic cycles. The universe operates through precise phases: planting, growing, harvesting, and resting. When you resist these natural rhythms, you create friction. When you align with them, magic unfolds effortlessly. Your desires manifest not through force, but through synchronized movement with universal timing. Arthur discovered this truth one autumn morning while repairing an antique grandfather clock. As he adjusted its pendulum, understanding dawned. He had been fighting against life's natural swing. In business, he pushed for growth during rest periods. In relationships, he rushed for harvest before seeds were fully grown. That day, Arthur changed his approach. Instead of forcing his shop to expand during winter's quiet season, he used this time for planning and preparation. When spring arrived, his actions aligned perfectly with the energy of new beginnings. His business flourished naturally, without strain. This wisdom extends to every aspect of your existence. Each desire, each goal, each transformation has its perfect season. Fighting against these cycles depletes your energy. Moving in harmony with them amplifies your creative power. The sacred practice of seasonal alignment. Find a quiet moment and close your eyes. Reflect on one area of your life where you seek change. Now, identify which season you are truly in. Are you in the planting phase, where ideas take root? The growing phase, where patience and nurturing are required? The harvest phase, where you reap what you've sown? Or the resting phase, where stillness prepares the way for new beginnings? Write down your current season and honor its purpose. If you're in winter's rest, resist the urge to force growth. If you're in spring's planting, focus on laying strong foundations. Trust that by aligning with your true season, manifestation becomes effortless. Let your desires unfold according to their natural timing. The universe knows the perfect moment for each seed to sprout, each flower to bloom, each fruit to ripen. Your role is not to force the seasons, but to move in harmony with their eternal dance. Chapter 19. What if everything you see is a lie? In the fading light of an old theater, Agnes stood before an empty stage, her years of performing now distant memories. Yet in that moment, she glimpsed a truth that had eluded her throughout her career. The world itself was no different from the stages she once commanded. You too stand upon life's stage, playing roles assigned by beliefs inherited and assumed. What you perceive as unchangeable reality is merely an elaborate production, shaped by the stories you tell yourself. Each circumstance, each relationship, each limitation exists first in the theater of your mind, before manifesting in the physical world. The universe responds not to what is, but to what you believe to be. Your life circumstances are not fixed props on a stage, but fluid elements responding to the role you choose to play. When Agnes realized this, she saw how her own story had been written by old scripts, tales of limitation, of what was possible at her age, of how life should be. One morning, she decided to rewrite her role. Instead of playing the retired actress who had seen her best days, she became the wisdom keeper who had only begun to understand life's greatest performance. She changed her costume, not just her clothes, but her entire way of being. She shifted her dialogue, not just her words, but the very thoughts she allowed to take root. As she embraced this new role, the world around her began to shift. People responded differently. Opportunities appeared that aligned with her new story. The stage of her life rearranged itself to match her revised script. This power of perception and revision belongs to you as well. Every experience you face is not a fixed reality, but a scene waiting to be rewritten. The challenging circumstances you encounter are not permanent sets, but temporary arrangements that can be transformed through the power of your awareness. Sacred practice. The story revision. Take a moment now to identify a situation in your life that seems fixed or challenging. On a blank page, write this experience as if you were crafting a scene in a play. Include all the elements, the setting, the characters, the dialogue, the emotions. Now, with the understanding that you are the author of this reality, rewrite the scene. Change your character's perspective. Shift the meaning of events. Transform the dialogue. See how this situation could serve a greater purpose in your life's grand performance. Read both versions aloud, feeling the energy shift as you embrace your power as the author of your experience. Notice how this simple act of revision begins to alter your relationship with the situation, opening new possibilities for how the scene might unfold. Remember, you are not merely an actor in life's play. You are its author, director, and star. The power to revise your reality lies not in fighting what appears to be, but in choosing how you perceive and interpret each scene. Chapter 20. The Bridge Between Thought and Reality. In a sunlit studio, Vincent stood before an empty canvas, brush poised in his hand. Yet his eyes were closed, his mind alive with an image not yet born into the physical world. This truth you now uncover has been whispered through the ages. Every masterpiece of reality begins as a vision in the mind. Your thoughts are the primary colors from which all creation flows. Just as a painter sees the finished work in their imagination before the first stroke touches canvas, you hold the power to envision your reality before it materializes. This is not mere fantasy or wishful thinking. It is the fundamental process through which all things come into being. Vincent discovered this truth through his art. Each morning, he would sit in silence, allowing his mind to fully capture the essence of what he intended to create. He noticed that the clearer his inner vision, the more precisely his hands could translate it onto canvas. Soon, he began applying this same principle to his life circumstances. When faced with uncertainty, he would close his eyes and paint his desired reality in the gallery of his mind. He saw himself in a thriving studio, surrounded by admirers, his work touching hearts across the city. With each passing day, he added detail to this inner painting, the colors of success, the texture of fulfillment, the light of recognition. As weeks passed, his external world began to mirror his inner artwork. Opportunities appeared, connections formed, and doors opened, each element matching the vision he had so carefully crafted in his mind. The universe, it seemed, was simply manifesting the masterpiece he had already completed in his consciousness. This sacred law of creation awaits your recognition. Your mind is the studio where reality first takes form. Every circumstance you now experience was once a thought, an image, a feeling you held within. By mastering this inner artistry, you gain the power to paint your world anew. Sacred practice, the inner canvas. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and allow your mind to become the canvas. Begin to paint your desired reality with the colors of thought and emotion. See every detail, the circumstances, the relationships, the achievements you wish to manifest. Feel the textures of this new reality. Hear its sounds, breathe in its essence. Hold this vision until it feels more real than your current circumstances. This is not imagination. It is the first stage of creation. Practice this inner artistry daily, adding new details, enriching the colors, strengthening the clarity. Just as Vincent discovered, your external world will begin to reflect the masterpiece you paint within. Part 3. Mastering the Forces That Shape Your Destiny. Chapter 21. The Frequency of Miracles. In the dimly lit corridors of St. Mary's Hospital, Eleanor moved between beds with quiet purpose, carrying more than just medicine in her hands. She carried hope, though she didn't yet understand its power. Each evening she observed something that defied medical explanation. Patients with identical conditions followed drastically different paths to recovery. Through your own journey, you have perhaps glimpsed this truth, that healing follows belief. What Eleanor witnessed was the law of miracle in action, a principle as consistent as gravity, yet far more subtle in its workings. The vital force that governs health and healing responds not to what is probable, but to what is believed possible. When a patient held an unwavering knowing of their recovery, their body responded in kind. It was not their medication alone that created healing. It was their alignment with the frequency of wholeness. Eleanor began to notice a pattern. Those who spoke of their illness as temporary recovered swiftly. Those who embraced their healing before physical evidence appeared often experienced what doctors termed spontaneous remissions. These were not anomalies. They were demonstrations of universal law. One evening, while tending to a young man given mere days to live, Eleanor chose to experiment with this principle. Instead of seeing him through the lens of his diagnosis, she held in her consciousness an image of his perfect health. She spoke to his cells as if they were already whole. She treated him not as a dying patient, but as someone in the process of a miraculous recovery. Within weeks, his condition reversed. The medical staff called it unprecedented, but Eleanor recognized it as the natural outcome of aligning with the frequency of wholeness. She had not created the miracle. She had simply turned into its possibility. This same power flows through your being in this moment. Miracles are not random acts of divine intervention. They are the natural result of aligning your consciousness with higher frequencies of possibility. Just as Eleanor discovered, when you shift your energy to match the reality you wish to experience, the universe responds in kind. Sacred practice, the miracle frequency. Sit in perfect stillness and bring to mind something for which you feel genuine gratitude. Let this appreciation fill every cell of your being. Feel how this state naturally elevates your energy. From this heightened frequency, envision what others might call impossible. Do not force or strain. Simply rest in the knowing that miracles are the natural order of an aligned universe. Maintain this practice daily, allowing gratitude to tune your being to the frequency where miracles dwell. For it is not the magnitude of the miracle that matters, but your willingness to align with its possibility. Chapter 22. The Master's Way of Perception. In a small village among ancient hills, Walter moved through life with a grace that mystified those around him. Though his eyes had long since ceased to perceive physical light, he navigated the world with an awareness that transcended ordinary sight. Through his fingertips he read the stories written in wood grain and stone. Through his ears he painted landscapes more vivid than any canvas could capture. You too possess this deeper sight, though perhaps you have forgotten it. Like Walter, you have the capacity to perceive beyond the veil of physical appearance, to touch the essence of reality itself. What your eyes show you is merely a fraction of what exists, a single note in an infinite symphony. The physical world you perceive is not fixed or absolute. It is a reflection of your inner knowing, a mirror showing you what you have accepted as possible. When you limit your perception to what your physical senses report, you confine yourself to a fraction of your true creative power. Walter discovered this truth through necessity, but his blindness became his greatest teacher. Without visual distractions, he learned to sense the underlying patterns of life, the subtle currents of energy that shape all manifestation. He felt the warmth of sunlight before it broke through clouds, knew when storms approached by the shift in air pressure, understood people's intentions through the vibration of their voices. One autumn morning, a group of children gathered around Walter as he sat in the village square. "How do you know where everything is?" they asked. Instead of answering, he taught them to close their eyes and feel the world around them. "What you think you see," he explained, "is not what is. Learn to perceive with your whole being." By day's end, these children had discovered a world beyond sight. They felt the dance of wind patterns, heard the subtle differences between oak and maple leaves rustling, sensed the approaching footsteps of their parents before any sound reached their ears. What Walter understood, and what you must now grasp, is that true perception flows from within. The limits of your current reality exist only because you have accepted them as truth. But just as Walter transcended his physical blindness to perceive a richer world, you can expand beyond the boundaries of what you believe possible. Sacred practice. Expanding perception. Select one belief you hold about what is impossible in your life. Close your eyes and imagine a reality where this limitation does not exist. Feel this alternative possibility in your body. Notice how your current belief is simply one interpretation of reality, not reality itself. Hold this expanded awareness for several minutes, allowing yourself to fully inhabit this new possibility. Chapter 23. The Law Beyond Attraction. The Truth Nobody Talks About. In the hushed halls of an ancient library, Nathaniel's hands trembled as he traced the faded inscriptions of a manuscript that would forever alter his understanding of existence. For years he had studied the law of attraction, teaching others how to manifest their desires. Yet here, hidden within texts that had survived millennia, lay a truth far more fundamental. You see, the universe operates on principles more profound than mere attraction and manifestation. The law of consciousness, as revealed through these timeless teachings, shows that your state of being shapes reality more powerfully than any desire or intention ever could. When you grasp this truth, you understand why some desires manifest effortlessly while others remain perpetually out of reach. It is not about what you want. It is about who you are. Every moment your consciousness broadcasts a signal to the universe, and that signal must match the reality you wish to experience. Nathaniel discovered this truth one evening while translating an ancient scroll. The words before him spoke not of asking, wanting, or even believing, but of becoming. In that moment he ceased his lifelong pursuit of knowledge and simply embodied the wisdom he sought. Instantly, understanding flooded his awareness. As he walked home that night, he noticed how differently the world responded to him. Doors that had been closed now opened without effort. Questions that had plagued him resolved themselves naturally. Not because he had attracted these solutions, but because he had shifted his very being into alignment with them. This transformation reveals the secret that masters of manifestation have known throughout the ages. You cannot attract what contradicts your state of being. A person who embodies abundance needs not chase wealth. One who is love itself needs not seek love. What you are creates your reality more powerfully than any technique or practice ever could. Sacred practice. The embodiment shift. Take a quiet moment with your journal, creating a sacred space for this transformative practice. Write down who you must become to naturally experience what you desire. Instead of, "I want financial abundance," write, "I am the embodiment of abundance." Rather than, "I seek love," write, "I am love itself." For each desire in your heart, transform the wanting into being, the seeking into embodying. Spend time feeling the profound difference between wanting and being. Notice how wanting creates separation while being dissolves all distance. Let your consciousness shift from seeking to embodying, from chasing to becoming. As you write each statement of being, allow yourself to sink deeply into that state, as though you are remembering a truth that has always existed within you. Remember, the universe responds not to your wishes, but to your essence. It mirrors back to you what you are, not what you want. For this is the deepest law of creation. Chapter 24. The Science of the Unseen. In the sterile confines of her quantum physics laboratory, Dr. Amelia stood transfixed before readings that defied conventional explanation. What you are about to discover mirrors her revelation, a truth that bridges the ancient and modern worlds, uniting spiritual wisdom with scientific precision. The quantum realm reveals what mystics have whispered for millennia. Consciousness shapes reality at its most fundamental level. When scientists first observed that particles behave differently when watched, they unknowingly validated what spiritual masters have always taught. The observer affects the observed. You live in a universe that responds to consciousness. Every thought, every observation, every moment of awareness ripples through the quantum field, influencing the very fabric of reality. This is not metaphor or mysticism. It is measurable, reproducible science. Dr. Amelia discovered this truth through an unexpected experiment. While measuring quantum particles, she noticed that her expectations seemed to influence the results. At first, she dismissed this as coincidence. But as she refined her observations, the evidence became undeniable. Her consciousness was directly affecting the behavior of matter. The implications transform everything you thought you knew about manifestation. You are not separate from the reality you observe. You are intimately connected to it through the field of consciousness itself. Every thought carries a quantum signature. Every belief shapes the field of possibilities around you. Through careful documentation, Dr. Amelia proved that focused intention could alter the behavior of particles. When she expected certain patterns, they appeared. When she shifted her expectations, the patterns changed. The universe was responding not just to observation, but to the quality of her awareness. Sacred practice, the quantum observer experiment. Select a small, measurable outcome for this experiment, something you can track objectively. Perhaps the number of green lights you encounter on your drive, the number of times you hear your favorite song, or even how many butterflies cross your path in a day. For 3 days, maintain neutral observation, recording what naturally occurs without judgment or expectation. Then, for the next 3 days, hold a clear intention for your desired outcome while continuing to observe. Picture it vividly in your mind's eye, feeling the certainty of its manifestation in your heart. Record any changes in frequency or pattern, noting not just the occurrences themselves, but also any shifts in your own state of awareness. This exercise demonstrates how your conscious intention influences the quantum field of possibility around you, revealing the subtle dance between observer and observer that lies at the heart of creation itself. Chapter 25. The Power of Infinite Stillness. In a remote monastery among mist-covered peaks, a monk named Ezekiel discovered a truth that would transform his understanding of creation. Through years of meditation, he noticed that his greatest manifestations occurred not through effort, but through absolute stillness. You have been taught that action creates results, that movement generates change. Yet the deepest mysteries of the universe reveal otherwise. In perfect stillness lies infinite potential, the quantum field of all possibility before it collapses into form. When you quiet your mind, you enter this sacred space where all creation begins. Your thoughts, like ripples on a pond, disturb the surface of pure potential, but in stillness, the waters clear, allowing the universe to move through you unimpeded. Ezekiel discovered this truth during his dawn meditations. As his mind grew still, he noticed reality began arranging itself without his interference. Opportunities appeared effortlessly, solutions emerged spontaneously, and synchronicities multiplied, all without his conscious direction. One morning, while sitting in perfect silence, Ezekiel experienced what masters throughout the ages have described, a state of pure being where the boundary between self and universe dissolves. In this space, manifestation requires no effort because you become one with the manifesting force itself. The universe operates through you most powerfully when you step out of its way. Your analytical mind, with its constant planning and controlling, actually restricts the flow of infinite intelligence. True power lies in surrendering to the silence. Sacred practice, the gateway of stillness. Find a quiet space where you will remain undisturbed, a sanctuary where the noise of the world cannot reach you. Sit comfortably with your spine straight, allowing your body to settle into stillness like a pond becoming perfectly still. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath, feeling the gentle rhythm of life flowing through you. As thoughts arise, do not engage them or try to push them away. Simply observe them passing like clouds in the vast sky of your consciousness. Notice how each thought dissolves naturally when not pursued. Gradually, let your awareness sink deeper into the silence between thoughts, like diving beneath the surface of an ocean to find the profound quiet below. In this space, you may begin to sense the boundless field of pure potential that has always existed within you. Remain here for 20 minutes, allowing yourself to merge with the infinite potential that exists in perfect stillness. Feel yourself becoming one with the creative force of the universe itself. This is the space where all manifestation begins, the sacred void from which all things emerge. Chapter 26. The Sacred Art of Detachment. In a small coastal village, a young woman named Teresa spent her days watching couples walk hand in hand along the shore, her heart aching with loneliness. Each night she would write in her journal about the love she desperately sought, creating detailed lists of qualities she desired in a partner. The more she focused on finding love, the more it seemed to evade her grasp. What you may not realize is that the very act of pursuing creates resistance. When you chase after love, or any desire, with desperation, you push it further away. This universal truth reveals itself in countless ways, yet remains hidden from those who need it most. The essence of manifestation lies not in the reaching, but in the releasing. Your desires come to fruition not through force, but through surrender. This seeming paradox holds the key to everything you seek. When you release your grip on what you want, you create space for it to enter. Teresa discovered this truth one evening as she sat by the ocean. Watching the waves roll in and out, she realized how her desperate pursuit of love mirrored her attempt to hold on to water in closed fists. The tighter she squeezed, the more it slipped away. In that moment, she chose to release her attachment to finding love. She stopped checking her phone constantly, ceased analyzing every interaction, and surrendered her timeline for romance. Within weeks, her world transformed. Free from the weight of expectation, she began to truly enjoy her solitude. She discovered peace in her own company, no longer viewing it as something to escape. And it was in this state of genuine contentment that love found her, naturally, effortlessly, like a leaf carried on the wind. This truth extends beyond the realm of romance. It applies to every aspect of creation. Your attachment to outcomes creates resistance, while your willingness to release control allows the universe to work through you. This is not about giving up on your desires. It is about trusting in the perfect timing and wisdom of the universe. Sacred practice, the release ritual. Take a piece of paper and write down what you most deeply desire. Pour all your longing, all your attachment, all your need for control onto this page. When you have finished, hold the paper in your hands and close your eyes. Acknowledge that your desire has been heard by the universe. Now, with clear intent, either burn this paper safely or release it into flowing water. As you watch it dissolve or transform, feel yourself releasing all attachment to how and when your desire will manifest. This act of surrender opens the channel for divine timing to work through you. Chapter 27. The Mind as the Master Key. In the halls of an ancient library, Vincent spent decades studying the great philosophical works of history. Year after year, he traced the threads of wisdom through countless texts, searching for the ultimate truth that would unlock the mysteries of existence. Yet the answer he sought was not hidden in the dusty tomes. It was within him, all along. You now stand at the threshold of understanding that has eluded seekers for generations. Every teaching you have encountered in these chapters, the law of attraction, divine timing, energetic alignment, they all flow from a single source: the power of your mind. Your mind is not merely a tool for thinking. It is the cornerstone of creation itself. Each thought you hold shapes the fabric of your reality. Each belief you nurture becomes the foundation of your experience. Your awareness is not passive. It is the active force through which the universe expresses itself. Vincent's revelation came not through his studies, but through direct experience. One morning, as sunlight streamed through the library windows, he closed his books and simply observed his thoughts. He watched how each mental pattern created an immediate resonance in his body, how each belief colored his perception of the world around him. In that moment of clarity, he understood. His mind was not reflecting reality. It was creating it. For the next month, Vincent approached his life as a conscious creator. Before speaking, he chose his words with intention. Before acting, he aligned his thoughts with his desired outcome. Before sleeping, he reviewed his mental state, ensuring his mind was focused on what he wished to manifest. His world began shifting in subtle yet profound ways. Opportunities appeared effortlessly. Relationships deepened naturally, and solutions emerged spontaneously. The truth Vincent discovered is now yours to claim. Your mind is the master key that unlocks every door in the universe. When you truly grasp this principle, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Sacred practice, the mental mastery ritual. For one full day, from the moment you wake until you sleep, consciously choose every thought you allow into your mind. When a negative thought arises, do not fight it. Simply observe it and consciously replace it with its positive counterpart. If you think, "I can't," immediately shift to "I can." If you think, "This is difficult," transform it to, "This is an opportunity for growth." Keep a small notebook with you throughout the day. Each time you successfully transmute a negative thought, make a simple mark. This is not about counting failures. It is about celebrating your growing awareness of your mental power. By day's end, you will have tangible proof of your ability to master your mind, and thus to master your reality. Chapter 28. The Final Veil. In a sunlit studio, Catherine stood before her canvas, brush poised in midair. For years she had viewed her art as something separate from herself, a creation born of effort and struggle. Yet in this moment, something shifted in her awareness. You have reached the final gateway of understanding. The greatest illusion that keeps you bound is not about what you can or cannot do. It is the belief that you exist apart from the universe itself. When you look at the world, you perceive boundaries, where you end and everything else begins. This perception of separation is the root of all struggle. It creates the belief that you must reach outside yourself to obtain what you desire, that abundance exists somewhere out there, that love must be found beyond yourself. Catherine's revelation came as she watched the colors flow from her brush. She realized that the painting was not emerging from her actions, but through her. The colors, the canvas, her hand, her breath, all were one continuous movement of creation. There was no painter and painting, only the act of creation expressing itself through this form. In the days that followed, Catherine approached her art differently. She no longer tried to force an image onto the canvas. Instead, she allowed herself to become the creative force flowing through her. Her paintings transformed, taking on a life that viewers could feel, because they were no longer witnessing a painting, but experiencing oneness expressed through color and form. This truth extends far beyond art. Everything you desire, abundance, love, purpose, peace, is not separate from you. You are not a fragment seeking completion. You are the wholeness of life expressing itself in human form. When this understanding deeply penetrates your awareness, manifestation becomes effortless because you realize there is nothing to attract, only your own nature to express. Sacred practice, the dissolution of separation. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and feel the boundaries of your body. Now, gradually allow these boundaries to soften. Feel yourself expanding, first filling the room, then the building, then spreading across the land. Continue expanding until you encompass the entire planet, the solar system, the galaxy. Feel yourself as the vast expanse of the universe. There is no separation, no division, only the infinite expression of life itself. Rest in this awareness of oneness for as long as you feel called. When you open your eyes, carry this truth with you. You are not separate from what you seek. You are it. Chapter 29. The Return to the Beginning. In a small village among ancient hills, Michael sat beneath a gnarled oak tree, sharing stories with children gathered at his feet. As twilight approached, he paused mid-tale, struck by a truth so simple it made him laugh. You have walked a long path, seeking answers, gathering wisdom like precious stones. Yet in this moment of clarity, you realize that what you sought was never lost. The truth of creation, of manifestation, of reality itself, it has always resided within you. Creation is not a skill to be mastered or a secret to be uncovered. It is your natural state of being. Just as a flower doesn't strain to bloom or a river doesn't struggle to flow, your power to shape reality requires no effort. The only barrier has been the belief that there was something to learn, something to find, something to become. Michael's laughter deepened as he remembered all the books he had studied, the teachers he had sought, the distant lands he had traveled. The children looked at him curiously, and in their innocent eyes he saw the wisdom he had spent decades pursuing. They didn't question their ability to imagine, to dream, to create worlds in their play. They simply did it, naturally, effortlessly. When you were young, you knew this truth. You understood that imagination was real, that thoughts shaped experience, that you were one with all you perceived. You didn't call it manifestation or the law of attraction. You simply lived it. Society taught you to doubt, to question, to seek validation outside yourself. But that inner knowing never left you. Michael gathered the children closer and began a new story, not one from ancient scrolls or distant lands, but from the wisdom that had always lived in his heart. As he spoke, he felt the perfect simplicity of it all. The universe wasn't waiting for him to unlock its secrets. It was waiting for him to remember he had never been separate from them. Sacred practice. The return to knowing. Sit quietly with paper and pen. Close your eyes and think back to when you first opened this book. What drew you to these teachings? What resonated so deeply that it felt like remembering rather than learning? Write down 3 truths that you've always known, even before encountering these words. Notice how reading them didn't give you these insights. It simply confirmed what your soul has always understood. This is not the end of your journey. It is a return to your original wisdom, to the knowing that has always lived within you. Chapter 30. The Master Key Revealed. In the depths of an ancient library, Helen stood before towering shelves of wisdom. For years she had searched these hallowed halls, seeking the one truth that would unlock all others. In that moment, as sunlight streamed through stained glass windows, something shifted within her consciousness. You have journeyed far, collecting pieces of knowledge like fragments of light. Each teaching has led you here, to this sacred moment of recognition. The truth you seek is not hidden in these volumes, in distant temples, or in the words of masters. It resides in the simple yet profound realization that you are the master key. Every scripture, every teaching, every principle points to this singular truth. You are not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are that force itself, expressing through human form. The power you sought was never outside of you. It was the very essence of your being. Helen closed her eyes, letting this awareness wash over her. In that instant, the illusion of separation dissolved. She saw with perfect clarity that she had never been the seeker. She was what was being sought. The moment this truth settled into her bones, reality itself seemed to bend around her new understanding. You stand now at the threshold of the greatest transformation. This is not about learning to manifest or attract. It is about remembering your true nature as the manifester, the attractor, the creator itself. Every experience, every circumstance in your life has been shaped by this power, whether you were conscious of it or not. As Helen opened her eyes, the library had transformed, not in its physical appearance, but in her perception of it. Every book, every word, every mote of dust dancing in the sunbeams was an extension of her own consciousness. She was not observing reality. She was creating it with each breath. Sacred practice, the Creator's embodiment. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and feel the weight of your physical form. Now slowly begin to expand your awareness beyond your body. Feel yourself as the space around you, as the air you breathe, as the ground beneath you. Let your consciousness expand until you recognize that everything you perceive is an extension of your own being. From this space of expanded awareness, make one declaration. I am the creator of my reality. Feel the truth of these words in every cell of your being. Remain in this state of conscious creation for as long as it feels natural. This is not a practice to be done once and forgotten. It is a new way of being in the world. Conclusion. Once you see it, everything changes. Now that you have glimpsed the ultimate truth, there is no returning to unconscious creation. The veil has been lifted, revealing your true nature as the architect of reality. Each breath you take, each thought you hold, each feeling you nurture, these are no longer random occurrences, but conscious acts of creation. The world around you remains unchanged, yet everything is different. The morning sun still rises, people still go about their daily routines, and life continues its eternal dance. But you see it all with new eyes. Every circumstance, every encounter, every experience now carries the signature of your consciousness. You recognize that nothing happens to you. Everything happens through you. This recognition brings both power and responsibility. No longer can you blame external forces for your reality. No longer can you hide behind the illusion of powerlessness. Each moment presents a choice. Will you create consciously or unconsciously? Will you accept responsibility for your creative power, or will you fall back into the comfort of ignorance? The ancient mysteries, the sacred teachings, the universal laws, they were all pointing to this simple truth. You are the creator. Not through effort or force, but through being. Your very existence is an act of creation. Every thought ripples through the fabric of reality. Every emotion colors the canvas of your experience. Every belief shapes the contours of your world. This is not a burden to carry, but a freedom to embrace. You are free from the chains of circumstance, liberated from the prison of limitation. Your power lies not in controlling external reality, but in mastering your inner state. For what you are within must manifest without. Let this truth settle deep within your being. Feel its weight and its lightness, its solemnity and its joy. You have crossed a threshold from which there is no return. Every step forward is a conscious act of creation. Every moment is an opportunity to shape reality anew. Remember, you are not learning to create. You are remembering that you have been creating all along. The only difference is that now you do so with awareness, with intention, with the full recognition of your true nature as the conscious creator of your reality. Your journey doesn't end here. Click on this next audiobook that I promise will completely transform your perspective.